Wow, major news from Cleveland Browns longtime tight end David Njoku. He took to Instagram to let it be known he will not be returning to the Cleveland Browns. This is hot, fresh off the press. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. Let's get right into it. David Njoku took to Instagram in a post here, as you can see, where it says, Cleveland, first off, I love you. These 9 years have been a beautiful journey. I am so grateful for all the memories we shared together. Thank you to the Haslams, Andrew Berry, and the whole Browns organization for everything. All my teammates I shared battle with, I'm so grateful for you guys. The time for me to find a new home has come, and all I can think of is just the gratefulness in my heart. The city of Cleveland will forever be home. And that is directly from David Njoku. This is a big deal, man. David Njoku, 9 years. 9 years. I got to give it to David Njoku. He was not a sabotager at any point. He went out there and played hard. I had the pleasure of meeting David Njoku a couple of times. Hard-nosed player, gritty, tough as hell, developed, and he earned his place in the league. He obviously, at 9 years, he was a really good Brown, man. So this is major news. The Browns are continuing to go young. Obviously, they have Harold Fannin at the tight end spot, and he is the priority. And David Njoku is a free agent. And he's going to be looking to get paid some good money this offseason. In a market where he might be a commodity. I mean, after Kyle Pitts, he's next in line in the tight end pecking order in free agency, I believe. So he's gonna get a quality bag, for a team. I don't know if it'll be 1 year deal, 2 year deal, but David Njoku is gonna have some options out there and could potentially land with a team that has a legitimate shot to win now. So, man, David Njoku breaking. He is moving on to another team. Let's go over to overtime on the fan and take a listen to what he had to say over here.
Own Daryl Ryder has it out on social media on X, posting that David Njoku on Instagram announcing that his time in Cleveland is over. He's going to be a free agent in March. Not coming back was pretty much the expected result. Contract was up. Njoku was due a lot of money. Two sides probably were not going to reach a deal, but now brings into question whether or not you need to look at another tight end. And somebody that might be able to help us out with that question, we head out to the Make It Right Cole Kyle Wright hotline. You can find his work over on the Audibles and Analytics Substack, as well as the many places you can find him. John Ledger joining us now. John, what's going on?
Not too much, man. Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yep, looking forward to our conversations every single week. A lot of things obviously happening this week, John, between Super Bowl, the David Njoku news that just dropped. I will start with the Njoku stuff, I guess, because, I mean, not one that I think catches a lot of people in Cleveland by that much of a surprise. And now there's obviously questions to answer in the tight end room along with this team moving forward.
Yeah, and the reason this is as big as it is twofold, really. It's not that Njoku's some unbelievably productive. Like, he's had his foibles, right? His hands have been an issue, and there's inconsistent stretches where he can be a little bit frustrating. But leadership, work ethic, toughness, those things that he provides, really invaluable to a team that's going. We've talked about it almost every week, looking for culture, right? Looking for people who are going to set those cultural trends. And losing a guy like that offensively when you don't have as many other pieces. Now, even though it was expected, I think that's going to be something that's difficult to replace, especially because a lot of players that fit that profile might not see Cleveland as a place that they want to be, necessarily at that stage in their careers. A lot of them are trying to head places where they can win. They're at the veteran stage of their career, and they're looking for something a little bit different in terms of fit. So that part of it's going to be tricky. I think the other part that's tricky is that his ability to be on the field in all situations maximizes somebody like Harold Fannin. And I know that's a little bit tricky for fans to understand maybe, but if you are just going to have Harold Fannin would just be our number one tight end, that gets really, really difficult. You almost need to be a 12 personnel, a two tight end team in order to maximize what Fannin does best, which is sort of what makes him a little bit of a trickier player to fit than other tight ends that you might say, oh, he's as good as one of the other rookie tight ends, but well, it's a little bit trickier than that. So you have to now find a player that you can pair with him sort of as like a combination moving forward. And I think that's going to be another part of this that's a little bit of a trick.
I mean, Harold Fannin is definitely going to be the priority at the tight end position, as he should be. But Harold Fannin is not much of a blocker. You're definitely going to have to find a tight end that can complement and take some of the workload off of Harold Fannin. We saw him get hurt because he had to be the number one receiver because you got Jerry Jeudy out there pretending to be a number one receiver. So I know David Njoku is gone, and we feel like we can lean on Harold Fannin, but we got to get him some help in that tight end room. So this just adds another void on offense for the Cleveland Browns to fill. A team that already has holes all over the offensive line and in the wide receiver room now has to find a number 2 tight end as well.
So you look at the draft, obviously a couple of guys at the top, like Kenyon Sadiq. Does a Max Clare become available? Or is there a name later on in the draft that you've seen that you think, might kind of fill that role to pair with Harold Fannin off the top of your head?
Oh, man. I mean, there might be later in the draft. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't draft one at all, but it's just, I mean, this just can't be it has to be a cheaper free agent. It has to be a veteran. You need some experience right at that position. I mean, you're already going to be going in a situation where your offense is going to be young. Tight end is a position you can't afford to just be totally young at. And then when you talk about another young guy going to be playing tight end for you, you need a veteran at that position. So I'm not saying they shouldn't look at any tight end in the draft, but to me, it almost has to be the other way around, where they look at, like, okay, who are the affordable free agent signings? Like, who might be interested in coming here? Could we snag a Tyler Higbee? Because the Rams are going to be, he's at that stage of his career where, maybe he wants to be with a winner, but let's just rule that part out for now and say, could we get a guy like that in here who gives us the blocking ability, gives us some versatility to our groups that allows Fannin to do some of the things that he does best, which might not be as all-around versatile as some of these other, like, more of a traditional tight end might.
Exactly. You don't need to be looking in the draft for a tight end. You need to sign you a veteran in free agency who's not going to cost you a boatload, that has some experience, that knows how to play and get the job done. You don't need to be drafting another young tight end. You got Harold Fannin. Get you a veteran that knows how to play the game, that's willing to do the dirty work, that's willing to stick his face mask in there and block, that can also do some receiving, doesn't have to be a huge receiving threat. Obviously, that's Harold Fannin's job on this team, but the Cleveland Browns definitely should be looking at veteran options in free agency to fill that hole at tight end, man. David Njoku, 9 years with the Browns. We salute you. You did your thing. Get down in those comments. Let me know what you think about David Njoku moving on and who should be his replacement. Is it in free agency or is it via the draft? Get down in the comments. Let me know. Just keep the vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.